Good day. How is everybody doing? Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. So today I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on economics, right? We're going to have a little introduction to economics, and I'm going to explain to you what economics is and go into some economic concepts that we can use to further understand what we are talking about here. So first things first, economics. What is economics? Right? So if I ask you guys what economics is and what is it about, you might say, oh, money, right? Something about businesses, something about trade, any of these kind of things. And you wouldn't be wrong. But let me give you the textbook definition of economics, and then we can go and kind of break it down and see what we can learn. Right? Economics is another marker. I haven't used these markers in a while. I don't know if you can tell. The study of how people choose to use limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants and needs. Okay, so our textbook definition of economics is the study of how people choose to use limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants and needs. All right, so there's a lot packed in this definition, so let's just kind of break it down step by step and see what we can learn, right? So first of all, it's a study, okay? So this is a field of study, much like medicine, right, or history, right? This is an entire field, right, in which people study to try to learn about, right? So what is it a study of? Well, it's a study of how people choose, right? So how people together, we use a lot of data in economics. So it could be on an individual level, right? Or it could be several people together, right? But ultimately, when we talk about economics, we're talking about either on a small scale or a large scale, the choices that people make generally, okay? And now, well, what are we studying? Well, how these people choose to use limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants and needs. So the study of economics is essentially a study about choice, a study about choices, so the choices that people make. Well, what are they choosing? Okay, so there's a few concepts that we really need to outline here in order to understand, right? We need to identify what resources are, right? This is the bad marker. And what wants and needs are. Okay, so what are resources? If I ask you to tell me what resources are, well, you might think of things like oil, right, steel, natural gas, water. Those are resources, right? You would be right to call those resources. However, in our modern day and age, with the invention of currency and the wide acceptance of its use, when we talk about resources, we can just kind of think of it as money, right? So when we're talking about how people use their resources, well, what resources do you really have? Now, not to say that people only have money, right? They do have other resources, and we're going to talk about resources when we get into factors of production and all that a little bit later on. But resources, in this sense, right, is money. Okay, so how to use their limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants and needs. Okay, so there's a stipulation to these resources. The resources that people have are all limited, right? Meaning that there is a limit to the resources that people have. And this goes for everybody, right? You might be there thinking that, oh, well, I don't have any resources, I'm kind of broke right now. And yes, your resources are limited, but everybody has limited resources. Even Bill Gates, right? Jeff Bezos, these kind of people, their resources are limited. They have a lot, right? But they're not unlimited categorically. Okay, so we're using these limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants and needs. Okay, so here we have unlimited wants and needs. Now we can differentiate between wants and needs. All right, so let's do that first, just so we get a better idea of what we're talking about. Right? Needs. Okay, we're going to define that as something necessary for survival. Okay? And wants. And that would be things we desire to have, right? So you guys can think about some wants that you have and needs that you have. The funny thing about that is that we all kind of need the same things. So if you were to give me an example of things that are needs, right? Water, food, shelter, right? Let's leave it there. All right, but then wants. If I ask you guys, what is something that you want? Right? You could come up with a number of different things. Car, right? I want a car, right? I want a PlayStation 5, right? What else could you want? A lot of different things. Maybe some Jordans, right? Or AirPods, or a new iPhone, right? But there's a definite difference between needs and wants. Okay, so what does this definition tell us about our needs and wants? Well, it tells us that they're unlimited, right? So no matter how much money you have, you can buy things and waste all that money on your wants and needs. Now, needs, most people, especially in America, have their needs taken care of. First of all, water is very inexpensive. And food, you know, we all pretty much have enough food to survive, right, that we need. I'm sure everybody watching this video eats at least once a day, unless you choose not to, right? But then wants, okay? So no matter what, you're going to always want something more. If you have a $200,000 house, you're going to want a $500,000 house. If you have a $500,000 house, you're going to want an $800,000 house. If you have an $800,000 house, you're going to want $1 million house, right? So we're always going to want more. We're always going to have that desire for more stuff, right? So the definition of economics, the study of how people choose to use limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants and needs. Well, because of this, we have a problem here. It's not balanced, right? We have resources which are limited and wants and needs which are unlimited. So this gives us a kind of an issue, right? Because we're always going to have wants and needs, but we're not going to have those resources to be able to satisfy them because they're limited, right? So what do we have to do? We have to economize, right? This is the decisions that we make is called economizing. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about the problem that this creates, the problem this definition creates, and that is scarcity, right? So scarcity, if we are to define it, is the condition in which our wants are greater than the resources available, right? So we all want more than we can afford, essentially. So scarcity forces us in several different positions, right? It forces problems onto us because we never have enough, right? We never have enough food, we never really have enough water, right? We never have enough Jordans, right? We never have enough AirPods. We never have enough PlayStations, right? Because we have a finite number of resources. Therefore, a lot of our problems are due to scarcity. And we all face the same issue, scarcity of resources, scarcity of money, right? So economizing is how we make decisions based upon scarcity. All right, so thank you for watching this introduction video. I'm going to be putting up another video shortly about scarcity, and we're going to get into that a little bit more.